Welcome to Buckets. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by NBA futures analyst, the King Kong of ROI, Brandon Anderson at Wheaton Brando, WheatonBrando. This is your Tuesday Best Bets episode in the NBA playoffs for April 28th. We will cover the games. We are recording this on Monday around 3 o'clock Eastern. So we don't have I can't tell you about how to bet Raptors Cavs because it's over by the time that you hear this, not series, but the game. So we will focus on the games for tomorrow. We'll give you sides, we'll give you props, we'll give you totals, we'll talk some future stuff as well. We'll get Brandon's insight into how these teams are looking, future plays, all of that and more in this episode. As a reminder, everything we talk about can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. It's the best way for you to track your picks. You get up at the second information where the bets and money are coming in on. You can get our pro signals, which gives you all sorts of cool stuff like, hey, where's the money coming in? And hey, the money's on this side, but the line's going the other way. That's weird. And you get our prop projections, all sorts of great stuff. All you got to do is go to actionnetwork.com/pro and use code POD20, POD20 for $20 off a year of Action Pro. There was a early 2000s, one of those rap rock bands called POD. They were terrible. They were very not good. Most of those bands were very terrible. I remember them not fondly, but I do remember them.
I think POD was a quote Christian band, so they were one of the ones I was allowed to listen to growing up.
Oh well, there you go. There you go. One of yours.
Yeah, we got a little shared POD experience.
If you do the Christian ones, Jars of Clay was the one.
Oh, Jars of Clay was awesome.
They were a big deal when they came through the Bible Belt. They toured, and it was like a massive deal when Jars of Clay was touring.
Our producer David coming in with Youth of a Nation shout out. So yeah. I enjoyed that song as well. Once I realized it was called Youth of the Nation and not a different one word that goes with Dr. Kevorkian, which is what I thought the song was originally about. Yeah. That's what I thought as a child. I was like, wow, this is just a song. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So Sixers Celtics, let's go to game 5. And it's now 3-1 Boston. Boston takes care of business in games 3 and 4 in Philly to settle themselves down. And Brandon, I was like, hey, I actually think that the Sixers can match up. And to be honest with you, they had the screw around game in game 2, and that's what happened. But the Celtics always do. But I do genuinely think that they've had opportunities in the series. The problem is, so I am not trying to degrade and talk about Joel Embiid as if he sucks. It's not his fault. Okay. It is not Joel Embiid's fault. I don't think Joel Embiid is a cancerous, terrible player who makes everyone around him suck at their jobs. However, the minute that I heard that Embiid was cleared for this game, I was like, oh, Sixers are dead. The Celtics are going to win this game. I had already bet Celtics in this spot, but I thought it was a much, much better spot then. Embiid finishes 9 of 21 for 26 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, minus 25 in his minutes. Boston knows how to guard Embiid. They've known how to guard Embiid for the last half decade. They've always been comfortable guarding him. And it used to be an Al Horford thing. And then I think that Al taught the younglings about how to defend him. And I just flat out cannot get my brain around any scenario where this could work out well for them. So I just think the Sixers are drawing dead here with Joel Embiid back, Brandon.
Yeah, Joel Embiid is now 3-13 in the playoffs against Boston in his career. Matt, you and I like to talk football. 3-13 is what gets you the number 1 pick in the draft the next year. 3-13 is real bad. My take on the series is not even really about Embiid, and it's less about Boston. I don't think that Game 2 was their screw around game, as I will politely call it. I think this has just been Boston made a whole bunch of threes 3 times and didn't one other time. And that's it. That's what Boston does. Here's the margins. Game 1, plus 36 on threes. They won by 32. Game 3, plus 24 in threes. They won by only 8. Then this last one, plus 45. They won by 32. Guess what happened in between? Minus 18 on threes in Game 2. They lost by 14. This is just Boston. This is the thing. They shoot a lot of threes, and sometimes they miss. And I guess my question for you is, we don't talk about Philly for much longer. So whether this is Embiid or not, this is, in all likelihood, this is going to be our last game or two talking about them. Is Boston cruising? Because I don't feel like Boston is cruising. Boston's hitting threes. I don't feel great about Boston. I feel worse about Boston right now than I did before the playoffs. This does not look like a finals team to me. Their center rotation continues to be more and more worrisome to me, Embiid or not. Derek White stinks so far. I love Derek White. He cannot hit the broadside of the barn. His defense hasn't been as good. Payne Pritchard, awesome game. Game 4, not so awesome. The other 3, there's not a lot here. And like, if the centers aren't good and White's not what he was, and Drew and Horford and all these other guys aren't coming back through that door, I don't like, this is still the favorite to win the East, and 3-1 dominating the Sixers makes it look that way. I don't really feel that way about Boston watching this series, regardless of, I'm not worried at all about them beating Philly. I'm going big picture here. Big picture, should I feel good about Boston as the East favorites?
Probably based off of the whole picture. And like, I try and not do this because I think it's played out and I think it's a little bit reductive, but like, it's sometimes that has to be just the case. And this is the thing. It's just like, no one in the East is good.
Yeah.
No one in the East is good. And like, I don't like that. And there's a lot of players and coaches and things I like in the East, but like, none of these teams are serious. Like, this is the Succession meme. You are not serious. I love you, but you're not serious people. Like, that's the reality of it. Is like, Detroit, I never expected to make a I thought they would make the second round. We'll see what they do. I like them tonight. And again, they'll be over, but like, you know, I didn't think Detroit would make it out of the second round. And you like the Cavs early before the playoffs started. And I still think that you're in a really good position with your Cavs futures based off of how the bracket is shaping up. Because like, they're going to get past Toronto. I thought Toronto would win 2 games. They won 2 games. I'm good. Like, I have escalators on them, but I'm just like, I'm good with my 2 games. The Knicks, I'm not surprised that they're doing this with the Hawks, especially because like, I ignored the model. Once again, was like, no, don't pay attention to that silly thing. And once again, then it's right about the Knicks being good or being better or worse versus the number for 2 years in a row. I just don't know that there's anybody that I trust versus Boston to execute. It's just like, Boston is so disciplined with what they do. They're not spectacular. They're not amazing. They're not like, God, what a great team. And I know if you're listening to this and you're a Boston fan, you're like, we just beat Philly by 30. What do you want? I get it. Understandable. You're very good. You're just not like, there's no one in the Eastern Conference that are just like, that team is awesome. They are so good. You're just like, yeah, they're really pretty good. And that's just, I think that's the best you're going to get out of the Eastern Conference. And the question is just like, I think you have to take one of Celtics Knicks. That's where I'm at. Is like, you have to trust one of Celtics Knicks. And for some reason, I find myself trusting the Knicks, which is stupid. I'll just say that right now. It's stupid. And I'm going to regret it later. I don't think that they're going to impress you, but there's nobody else in the Eastern Conference. If you're talking about the title, though, unless we see Minnesota go on a run, unless we see San Antonio with that much experience, if it's OKC, these teams are dead. All of these teams are dead versus OKC, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be that the answer to the stuff we're talking about right now is bet the Western Conference. Like, that's always available to every book and prediction market. Maybe it's just that. And, you know, maybe it's just that for the how manyth time in a row, because we've been here before. So I think Boston is the correct favorite in the East. I don't think they are correctly priced as how much they're the favorite, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Put differently, I would be not stunned to see at this point, I think 5 of the 8 East teams coming out of the East. I would be stunned if it was Toronto. I would be stunned if it was Philadelphia. No, I'm going to go 6. I think anyone else in the East is genuinely live to make the finals. And like, not live in the way that bettors have to say everyone is live and it's like, well, 0.8% chance, but they could like actually, I think the Hawks could beat the Knicks, and I think the Hawks could beat the Celtics. I think the gap is small enough that is in play. I think the Magic could beat the Pistons and then beat the Cavs, and I think that gap is small enough to be in play. I'm not saying that will be my prediction. I'm not saying you should bet those things. I think those 6 teams, not the Raptors, sorry, and not the Sixers at all. I think anyone else is in play. I think Boston is probably the right favorite. We want to talk about how do I feel about my Cavs. This was my pick before the playoffs started to come out of the East. I feel a lot worse about the Cavs than I did before the playoffs started, although I also didn't not expect this because I picked Cavs -1.5 because I thought they might screw around and give away these 2 games. That's not victory lapping. That's me being like, yeah, I like the version on paper of this team, but I needed to see it come together. Well, guess what? I'm seeing why I need to see it come together. I'm seeing the before, I'm betting on the after. So here they are facing this ginormous speed bump now. What happens? How do they respond? Not great so far. Don't love how they're responding. But the bet before the playoffs started, as much as anything, was on the path. And that's why you think I should feel good about my bet and why I still feel fine with it is I thought the Magic were live and that would be an easier path, even if it's not the Magic. I thought the Pistons were not as good as they look on paper, and I still think that. And I still don't think the Celtics or the Knicks are this like behemoth waiting in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I can kind of feel okay about Cleveland, but I don't feel great about the Cavs themselves. Similar to what I'm saying about Boston here. Like, I guess for me, in my version, maybe the Cavs are the favorite, but not a favorite I want to be excited about. They're just like, somebody has to be the favorite. Somebody has to be at the front of the odds. And I think Cleveland has the much easier path than Boston, given the where they're set up. Although they have to win an extra game this round, they could lose this round still very easily. I have the Cavs like 73%, I think, to win this round, which is it's not nothing for Toronto's chances. They've screwed around and opened the door now.
I said we were going to talk about it. I just do want to I'll come back to this. I am so impressed with Toronto. I thought that I like the matchup, but I'm really impressed with how Darko Rajakovic has coached the series.
It's so interesting because after game 1, you hated him. You're ready to like hang him from the gallows. Yeah, so what have you liked?
So mad. So the biggest thing here is that a lot of coaches, they get into these playoff series and they are so, there's like a false bravado thing of like, we just got to get back and do what we do. And if we do it well enough, we'll win the game. And that's stupid. That is dumb, especially if you are the dog. If you're the favorite, yes, you should be like, guys, we won 60 whatever games. Just play like we do and we'll be fine. What was that, right? The Raptors, on the other hand, it was like everything that they were doing. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why are you playing drop with you? Why are you playing Jakob Poeltl this much? Why are you playing deep drop with Jakob Poeltl versus James Harden and Donovan Mitchell? It's not a good idea. Like, all of these things were terrible. And one of the things that I think that has actually been really good, like Jacoby Walter was like 0 for 9 yesterday from 3. But the move to start Jacoby Walter was such a great example of a small adjustment that you get to make when you don't have like set guys making big money that allow coaches to make the right rotation because what he realized was we are never going to free up the starter offense if I don't have shooting. I have to balance it with some defense. With quickly out, we've only got defenders, but I need somebody who can reliably knock down threes. And Shed is not treated as a shooter, even though he hit like 3 threes in game 1. So putting him in there and then putting Shed with the second unit means that you're able to then be like, okay, so we have this dedicated second unit that's just going to be awesome on defense. We've got my best perimeter defender. I'm going to stagger Scotty Barnes with him. We've got, Mamu and CMB is going to play a ton. And we're switchable and we have all these versatility and that's going to junk up all these other lineups. And in the starter minutes, we're able to be like, we have defense, we have shooting, letting RJ Barrett have the role that he has. Phenomenal. So I just think he's done a really good job. I've been really impressed with the effort, performance, and execution by everybody on Toronto except Brandon Ingram, who as always is Brandon Ingram. And this is why you should never fucking trade for him. Like, Brandon's going to make a lot of money in this league. And Brandon has teammates love Brandon. NBA player teammates love Brandon Ingram. They always are like that. Love that dude. That's my guy. Great. That's awesome. The exact type of player that all of us nerds are like, you can't win with this guy. And then they don't win. Everybody's like, nerds. And it's like, he doesn't win. It doesn't happen. Let's do best bets. Let's go back to Sixers Celtics.
Wait, let me real quick. Let me ask 3 questions. I want your opinion on, and then I'll give mine. Just big picture futures, and we'll get to best bets. So you just talked about Raptors. I agree with what you said. I think too, Shed coming off the bench with Colin Murray-Boyles off the bench, that defense and that energy that has really dominated and swung things for them too. So Cleveland's got to respond now. If I told you either Toronto or Atlanta won the series, who is it?
Atlanta, 100% Atlanta.
Yeah, I've got Atlanta ahead. I wouldn't say 100%. I have Atlanta maybe like 6% higher to win the series. How about if I told you one of these teams got it to game 7? Philadelphia, who we're talking about, or Portland or Houston, who gets it to game 7?
Ooh, Houston. Houston's easy though. Like that feels like an easy answer. If you like, let's remove them and just do Philly or Portland, and It's Portland. It's Portland. Portland's been in these games.
Yeah,
like they've been in these games. Had a 15-point lead in game 4, wound up losing by.
We got them. We'll get to them coming up. Yeah. So I agree. Yeah. I agree with that order. Houston, then Portland, then Philly. I'm just going to say this. I looked up Houston to win the series odds last night. I'm intrigued by the Lakers were like late third quarter, 1 of 8 on the threes. The 1 is bad shooting. The Lakers are going to miss some shots sometimes. The 8 is intriguing to me. The 8 tells me maybe the Rockets are saying, you know what? We're going to do the bludgeon ball stuff, and we're going to get our rebounds, which actually they got less offensive rebounds last night. That was a little different as well. Like they played like a team with a different profile that said, you know what? If we take away your threes and don't just let Luke Kennard and Smart and Hachi get all these threes, we don't think you can beat us. If you don't beat us with threes, we're going to win the rest of the math stuff, and we're going to be better talented than you. And I think that's what it looked like toward the back half of game 3 when they should have won but didn't. And it's what it looked like in game 4. And I think Houston is live to keep going, but they're still Houston. They're probably still going to screw it up. So I don't know how excited I want to be in the end to invest into it. But I think of those 3, Houston for sure. I think that one has another story to tell. Last one, Denver and Orlando, to me, are the 2 underdogs that are most live to win the series outright. Only one of those wins the series. Who is it, Denver or Orlando?
No. Ugh. Denver, I think. Denver.
Okay, I'm going to say Orlando on this one.
I know.
I have Orlando slightly ahead on percentages, but I have those as the 2 highest. So my most live underdogs go Orlando, Denver, Atlanta, Toronto, and then Houston, a pretty big gap to the rest of the teams.
I am with you on the math side. Orlando has a 38% chance by my numbers. The Nuggets are only at 31. It's just kind of like if the Nuggets win game 5 and then it's game 6 and the Wolves are very tired and they have a short rotation, I'm honestly going to be pretty like, I will be more mad at Denver if they crawl out of this series. Like, I will be mad at them. I'm just going to be like, why are you doing this? Like, what? So it's very annoying. But you did say you were intrigued by the Houston Rockets series futures. Sounds like you have moved into
Bill Turby's House of Intrigue.
Nice.
Okay, let's do some best bets. Let's go to Sixers and Celtics. So I will go ahead and start here. I'm going to lay the wood with the Boston Celtics minus 12.5. Trends on this are not going to back it up. And I don't like using one of the things that winds up happening a lot, Brandon, is I wind up in these situations where two teams are in identical spots, and I use the trend as a supporting reason for one, and then the other one, I'm like, nah, that doesn't matter. I will say this is quite simply with Joel Embiid. I just don't think they can win versus the Celtics. And again, it's not even that like Embiid is bad. It's not that. It's just there's a way of playing. I like the matchup for Philly to be able to be like, we have Maxey and Edgecombe and Grimes and Oubre, and it's Bona, and we're gonna switch everything, and that's how we're gonna play. I like that combo a lot versus Boston. That throws something different at them, and like they were gonna beat them anyway, but like they probably could have hung. But with Embiid back, it just becomes a lot easier. It's like if you're like a traditionally centered team, Boston loves to kill those kind of squads. You mentioned the 3-point thing. I think that's probably going to hold up. Is it possible that the Celtics have another bad variance game? Absolutely. I don't want to lay the wood. I don't want to put a lot on this. I honestly don't like almost anything in this series because I don't know how to adjust prop expectations for the Sixers with Embiid back because we don't have a big enough sample to really understand what they're going to do in this situation or what differences Nurse is going to make. Nurse, I think, is DOA. I think Nurse is probably gone here at the end of the week. Boston, I could get in on a couple of things, like maybe, White to turn it around, but then you're betting on regression. There's nothing here I really like. I don't really love this, but to me, this is as simple as with Joel Embiid back, the Celtics are in control. They have righted the ship. They have an opportunity to close this out and get ahead of that Knicks Hawks series, which is going to go long. I'll take Boston minus 12.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the exact opposite side here, but not to antagonize and not to do anything other than we got to cover this game, and we both are trying to pick some bet in here. And so I'm going to take as my 1-star play here, Sixers plus 12.5. And here's my case. The trend is for the Celtics, after they win big, they don't show up focused after that. It's the same trend, Matt, that we have been fading Boston on for how many years in a row in the playoffs? I know it's a different team now, and probably it's not a thing, except guess what? It was a thing the one time the trend hit so far in this postseason. So since the start of the 2020 playoffs, after winning by more than 10 points, Boston is now 11-24-1 against the spread. 31% cover rate in the postseason by 5.5 points a game. They have failed to cover in that spot 10 straight times now. They've lost the last 4 outright, including game 2, when they cruised in game 1 and we wrote the series off and said it was over. And then they showed up fat and happy in game 2, missed all the shots, let Philadelphia get their shots, which I think is more important because that's where you kind of show up fat and happy in defense, where you're not really pressuring as much. Sixers hit some shots, and that was that. Maybe that was just the one VJ game, and this is a 1-star play for a reason. I'm not clearly I don't need to tell you if you're listening so far. I'm not in love with Philly or looking to invest in the Sixers here. I'm just playing the trend. You mentioned props. The one prop that did catch my eye that I don't think I should play because I'm on the Sixers side. If you like Boston, though, Tatum over 6.5 assists has cashed every game this series. He had 11 assists on 19 potentials last game. His 15 potential assists is third in the NBA in the playoffs so far, behind only Shea and Cade. So especially if you like Boston, I like the Tatum assist there. Here's my really crazy escalator, Matt. If the Sixers do cover here, what if they win? Again, the last 4 times in this spot for Boston, they have lost outright, coming off of a win by more than 10 points in the playoffs. Okay, Philly money line, plus 425. Well, I can do better because there's the other Boston trend. After they lose as a favorite and are favored again the next game, they're 17-5 against the spread. They come out focused. They come out ready. They slam the door. The Sixers stink. I don't actually think they're going to do anything deep in the series. So skip the Philly money line. Boston in 6, 8-1 odds at Fanatics for them to screw around and give this game away. And guess what? Now I'm sitting on an 8-1 money line ticket in game 6. Now I can be interested in this series because Embiid will probably screw me and win that one somehow anyway. But sure, give Embiid a legacy game, something in this one. Sixers plus 12.5, 1-star bet, but Boston in 6 at 8-1, just in case they screw around and keep us paying attention here.
The thing I like best about Brandon is that if you tell him that if you tell him that these are the games we're doing, he'll talk about how much he has nothing and doesn't like any of it. And then he will find the most obscure, exciting, he will find a way to something that is plus 500 or better. He will search and search the books like a foreign wasteland until he finds the diamond that is there.
The more angry I am about having to pay attention to a game or series, the longer, crazier bet I'm going to come up with just to if you're making me pay attention to this garbage, I'm going to win so much money off of this. Just you wait.
I will say one of it though, these playoffs to me are more about these games are fun. I don't think there's much meaningful is the problem. Is I think that's where you're chasing is it wants to feel like big matchups, and it's just no, the Thunder's just gonna kill everybody. I've said this kind of all year. It's the Thunder's gonna kill everybody unless they don't, in which case we could talk about what happens. But like otherwise, the Thunder are just going to kill everybody. But like I've loved watching VJ Edgecombe. I really like the Sixers team. I really,
really don't like Joel Embiid. So watching Joel Embiid play basketball is not fun. Sorry.
Speaking of teams that you do not enjoy, the New York Knicks are looking to retake a series advantage as they take on the Atlanta Hawks on Tuesday night. Knicks -6.5. Total is at 213.5. Why don't you go ahead and you got a 2-star and a 3-star on this game.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-star Knicks first half play, -3.5. I'm running back the bet that I gave out on game 1 because it is a home first half New York angle. The Knicks were the number 1 first half team at home in the season, plus 12.9. So this was the spot circled game 1. We had it, Matt. We had it. We're up 5, and they drove into the lane. They passed it out to Okongwu, and he hit a 3 at the buzzer, and then we didn't have it. So they won by 2. We didn't get the 2.5. They, of course, covered the second game 1 or game 2 at home, plus 7 in the first half. So they're still plus 9 in the 2 combined first halves. I think the Knicks have been clearly the better team in the series. They lead on all 4 factors so far. They're 2-0 in the games that have not been coin flips. They're 0-2 in the 2 coin flips. So this series should be 3-1 New York. It could be 4-0. It could just be done very easily if New York just hits a shot in those 2 games. It's not. That matters. Atlanta gets credit for the wins, but that's what we have to think about. So game 5 favorites that were favored in game 4 also, 37, 23-1 against the spread, 62%. And I don't think this happened, but there is a chance that the Knicks just kind of solved this team in game 4. They killed them in Atlanta. And if that is the case, then I have to like the first half angle even better. So back to the same escalators I took in game 1 that didn't hit. So they owe me some money. The Knicks led by double digits at the half in 29% of their games this season in the regular season. The Hawks have trailed by 9 or more at the half on the road in 10 of their 41 tries in the regular season. So Knicks escalator -8.5 in the first half is plus 245, and then -13.5 at plus 575. Both of those at bet 365. The Knicks led by 15 or more in 9 home games already this season, 22% of them. Again, Okongwu, why you got to make that shot, buddy? You lost by 10 anyways. This team, well, I don't even know which team owes me money. This series owes me money. I'm going back to the first half play. That's my play here.
Makes sense. It makes sense. The whole thing I think is weird. So you mentioned Pistons and Magic is kind of like this too, where if you take a step back and you look at the overall series, you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Like the favorites just like better. Like Detroit is down a point in net rating, but they lead in all sorts of important categories in that series. The Knicks are kind of the same thing, but the problem I have is like the Knicks are so far away from the rotations that they need to. Like the heat on Mike Brown is high. It is hot. Like there is a lot of talk about Mike Brown getting fired. By the way, shout out to James Dolan, who's just like, I will just fire coaches and pay for all of them. I don't care. Doesn't matter how much money there are. I'll just keep paying coaches to not coach my team. So I'm a little nervous for the Knicks because, the whole cap I had on the series was like, oh, they're going to kill him with size. And instead, Mike Brown's like, what if we never play Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns together? Ever. Like, what if we just don't do it? Like, ever. What if we just play small with a team that has no centers, that's playing Onyeka Okongwu at center? What if we do that? I'm like, bold choice, Mike. My 2-star play is going to be Jalen Johnson under 26.5 points and assists on this game. He has gone under this fairly consistently in this series. 3 of the 4 games he's gone under. I do not like this matchup for him. I do not like how he does not look comfortable. I think that the matchups with both Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and the other Knicks forwards have been very bad for him. He looks uncomfortable. He's been pushed out of his spots. With them running so much offense through CJ, it's just not really been a Jalen Johnson series. Like it just hasn't been. And I kind of identified that as like a prior in the series, and I should have been more aggressive in betting this from the start of just being on, this is not a Jalen Johnson series, which is not that like Jalen's not good. He is, but I also just don't find this to be like a great opportunity for him to get in on it. So yeah, his totals in the series versus this 26.5 line, 26 in game 1, so under by the hook, 20, 32 in game 3, went over, and then 19 in the last game. So it's been declining over the trend outside of the pop off. If you think that the Hawks are going to win this game, then you should probably take the over. I think the Knicks are going to win this game. So I'll probably parlay that together is Knicks money line and Jalen Johnson under 26.5 points and assists.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Jalen definitely, game 3 was awesome, and otherwise just has not really been the breakout star that has happened all season long, and to put him in contention, rightly so, for most improved, for all NBA, all those things. We've got one game of that so far. We have not gotten that in the rest. And I think you're right to think that if the Hawks lose, which is the expectation here in MSG, then that seems like a fade. That kind of ties to my play here, which is a 3-star play on Dyson Daniels to be the series leader in assists at plus 220 at DraftKings. Make sure to get it there. Is by far the best line I'm seeing. I don't really understand the line other than I think that the books are just like, I don't know, man, it's Dyson Daniels, which fair argument by the books. But Dyson's been pretty consistent, actually, except for, of course, the one game I came on here and gave out his rebounds and assist line, and he was 2 rebounds on 9 chances, 2 assists on 9 potentials. But for the series, he's at 6.3 assists per game on 11 per game. That was exactly what he was at in game 4, 6 assists on 11. Pretty consistent. He is not getting played out of the rotation. He's getting his minutes out there. You talked about Jalen Johnson struggling some. I think Dyson creating is picking up a little bit where Jalen's not able to do as much anymore. And then just looking at the numbers here, Dyson is currently the series assist leader, and it's actually not super close right now. He's up 4 assists on Brunson. He's up 5 on Cat and Hart, who I think are not real threats in this category. And he's up 6 on Jalen Johnson, who we just said is not doing so great in this series. So by potentials, really only Brunson and Johnson are in the mix here. I know Cat had 10 last game. It was 12 potential assists. That's probably fluky. It's scary because it's Dyson, but I just think they shouldn't be giving us this price when Dyson has a head start here. We get at least 2 more games, but he's up 4 right now. And the numbers to me say that gap should actually grow, not shrink. So I think there's a chance he kind of wins this going away. I see this closer to like even odds some books. If that's all you've got available to you, I'm not excited to bet that just because I'm not too excited to go even odds on Dyson Daniels over a couple games. But at plus 220, I think that's just too tasty of a number. So Dyson Daniels, assist leader on the series, plus 220. Make sure to check at DraftKings or try to get a number in that 200 range if you can.
I'm going to get too in the weeds here, but I think it's relevant. Because my first thing I looked at while you're talking is like, okay, so how's he getting these assists? And it's not pick and roll. He has 5 total possessions scoring and passing at pick and roll. It's not ISO. Where's he getting these from? It's transition. So my question for you is, do you think that the Hawks will still be able to run in the series enough to be able to get him to keep his lead by getting out and running in these situations if he's not creating in half court sets?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brunson is the clear threat here because them slowing down and the Knicks winning the next 2 games is the worst scenario for me on this bet, I think, because that implies them scoring well and Brunson probably playing well, and it implies Atlanta not scoring well and Daniels' assists going down a little bit. But it's 2 games, and even if that's the case, the margin of 4 in between to at least, get a dead heat and get the money back on it, it seems worth the play. To me, it scared me away from investing in this exact thing a couple games ago, but the numbers have been consistent. He keeps getting 9, 10, 11 assist potentials per game. And look, transition type buckets, to go devil's advocate to what you said, those have a better chance of hitting. Those are not like passing my teammate, got to hit an open 3. Those are passing up ahead to a layup in transition or that sort of thing where I'm going to have a better conversion shot. So again, I don't love it, but I like it. It's a plus 220. I think it should be closer to even odds where it is at some books. I notice at DraftKings right now, Matt, you can bet on Knicks, Cavs, Lakers series at basically even odds. Knicks, Cavs, Lakers parlay together at even odds. What's interesting, and I know we don't really think this, we're like, yeah, the Knicks are favored, they'll never lose. The Cavs are favored, they'll never lose. So the Lakers, they're up 3-0, that no team's ever lost like that. Well, if Knicks, Cavs, Lakers parlayed is even odds, the math is telling us there's just as good of a chance that one of those teams loses than that all three of those win. We don't think that way. We think of all this stuff independently, like, oh, the favorite's going to win here, the favorite's going to win there. Well, there's probably more twists to come. You and I and Jim Turvey got together after all the game ones and we're like, well, the first round's a dud. This thing's a wrap. Everything is clear from here. And then it was not that in the last week. So I don't know. I think one or two of these dogs are still going to twist the knife and give us something interesting this week.
Yeah, we'll see what comes out of that. It's going to be interesting to see the ramifications of that on the second round as well. Okay, let's go to the last game, which is the Portland Trailblazers taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs minus 12.5, total 215.5. Wild game in game 4. That was a wild one where it was like Portland was rolling and I was like, yeah, called it. And then I was like, oh no, there goes my bet. And went downhill in a hurry.
You were saying earlier about the Blazers. I want to hear more what you thought earlier. I cut you off because we'd get to it now. I agree with you. I think where you're going. I think the Blazers have very much been in the series, except for, of course, the 2 10-minute stretches when they get blown out of the universe. Yeah. So those count, it turns out. But what are you seeing that makes the Blazers look not as far out as I think the perception is right now?
The Spurs offense isn't as crisp as I think I'm used to seeing from teams that are contenders at their level. There's a lot of them trying to figure stuff out and then kind of attacking individual matchups. It's not pickup. That's not the way that it is. It's just not necessarily, their actions aren't as deliberate, and it's not read offense either. So whenever I see those kind of situations, I think that if you can kind of manage the margins, you can kind of get to where you want to go. Their defenses, I think, has been actually really incredible. I think their defense has been awesome. But I just kind of think that if Portland's able to get these games into slugfests, which they've had trouble holding on to, it's been kind of rough. Now, the numbers disagree because the Spurs are actually 80th percentile in the playoffs, like second or third best in half-court offense. Like they've just generated awesome stuff and been able to slaughter, especially their spot-up stuff has been great. Their pick-and-roll stuff has been great. ISO has been great. They've just been very good overall in all these kind of situations. Their transition is actually ironically where they've kind of struggled. So they've been able to execute and find good scoring opportunities. One of the things that there's a lot of conversation about Klingon playing less, which we'll get to in a second, and Time Lord playing more, which Time Lord's been very good. Castle very sneakily plays a very big role on this team, and that guy is still very young. And a lot of the trends are kind of, hey, like they are not as absolutely incredible when they've got Stephon Castle on the floor. In this series, he is plus 2.5 on court. They are plus 30.9 net rating when Stephon Castle is on the bench. Oof. That's crazy. They win by 31 points per 100 possessions when he is not on the floor. Where they've really dominated is Dylan Harper's minutes. Dylan Harper's been great in the series. The Blazers bench has not had enough to kind of counter. But I do just kind of wonder if we shorten the rotation, we go deeper, if Portland will have an opportunity to kind of hang on here. But I just don't think it's I don't think they're going to win. So I think it's more a matter of how that kind of goes, which I will go ahead and lead into it's a 1-star bet. It's Blazers plus 11.5, or it's now 12.5 in the market. I'll take Blazers plus 12.5. So we kind of touched on this earlier, but game 5 home favorites on the verge of advancing. So up 3-1 home favorites, game 5. They're 80-20 straight up. That seems good. 80% is pretty good, but they're 46-52 ATS. And, when you move to when they're more than a 10-point favorite, it drops to 10-16-1, 39%. They actually win more often, but the way that I kind of think about this is the teams in this spot, the other team is throwing the kitchen sink at them because this is their entire season on the line. And the other team wins because they're better and they're at home and they've had the advantage in the series. But the number is usually exacerbated by the 3-1 advantage. I think some of this also might be, and this is anecdotal, this is speculative, but I think some of this might be that, it's 3-1, which means the team was able to get a game off of you. And then probably one of those games was a little coin flippy. Could have gone either way, variance, clutch game, etc. So it kind of winds up in this zone where the 3-1 exacerbates the number and doesn't actually represent how close the series is. I actually really like Spurs to win, Blazers to cover. I think that's like a very logical outcome in this one. Blazers throw the kitchen sink at them. Probably last game for Thiago Splitter, who the players really love and has done a really good job this year. And it's a shame that he's going to get fired because the new owner is a little bit of a loon and a cheapskate. But, I think that the Blazers are going to cover here plus the 12.5.
Yeah, I have been relatively underwhelmed by the Spurs so far through 4 games. Obviously, like 2 incredible looking stretches, and obviously those things count. That's not to me a winning formula to play a team mostly even through 4 games and then need this like 10-minute supercharged stretch a couple of times. That doesn't feel like a championship formula to me. And maybe it is. Maybe that's just the way things go. But stats wise on the series, kind of about what I expected coming in, relatively even on a lot of the 4 factors stuff. The Spurs are ahead on EFG 55 to 48%. Yeah, okay, well, you have Wembanyama and the Blazers don't have much offense. Like that was the cap coming in, that will they score enough? And they haven't scored enough. That's when the stretches have gone so badly for Portland, is their offense just suddenly can't score. And that was always the direction this was going to go. But I don't think Portland is drawing dead to extend the series. I don't see Portland getting 3 games now. Like that's asking way too much. But I don't know that they're necessarily just done here, because unless the Spurs get another one of those big stretches, which they very well might, I'm not sure that they have shown through 4 games that we should just trust them to be the 11, 12-point favorites, run away and hide. I think the number is, it's exaggerated of what it should be. That said, I'm going to go back on the trend that I played in game 1 that did hit for us. So 2-star bet for me, Spurs first quarter, minus 3.5. This was the game 1 best bet. We won the quarter by 9. We almost got to 10, which is the escalator here. Spurs came out a little flat in game 2. Blazers up quickly. Spurs ended up still winning the first quarter even in that spot. And it's a trends thing. Blazers in the regular season, 20th in net rating on the road, minus 4.0 net rating. Blazers 21st in net rating in the first quarter, minus 4 there as well. And the Spurs are plus 15, so a 19-point swing in their favor. And again, Blazers offense struggling to score. Danny obviously not going to get as good a whistle on the road. He's been a bit inconsistent this series. And I don't think the Spurs have just figured this thing out and that they're just going to totally roll Portland early. But Portland is a pretty young team. Scoot, not so good last game. I think didn't even score a bucket in the entire game. There's a chance on the road in game 5, there's a chance they just aren't there. They just, it's done. And so if that is the case, then first quarter, I think we would see that right away. So Wembanyama's minutes are changing a little bit, obviously coming off the concussion, but I think almost in our favor. He took an earlier break last game, but then came back in. So that means we get Wemby to close the quarter now. Remember, they don't care if they win the first quarter. We care because we need to cover the bet. So we'll take Wemby on the court to cover at the end. Spurs, first quarter, minus 3.5. And then to win by double digits in the first quarter is plus 375 at Bet365. They did that 18 times this season, 13 this calendar year alone. They were a point away from doing it in game 1. And the Blazers have 14 first quarter double-digit losses. So Spurs first quarter, minus 3.5. And then escalator at 10-point first quarter win. You are on a prop on this game that I think you've been playing a couple times already.
Yep. We're 2-1. Donovan Clingan over 0.5 threes, 1+3s is where you can get it. Now you're gonna have to pay the juice on this. It's like you're gonna have to pay the juice. He has hit 1 3-pointer in each of the games. 1, not 2, which is what I got caught on the other day because like he hit 1 and then they bumped it up and then he hits 1 and that's it. I understand the skepticism being like they're going to play Time Lord more, they're going to play Donovan less. I think they're trying to get to more Time Lord versus the starters, and they're trying to get to Donovan more with the bench. Donovan's still very good, and Donovan's still very impactful, and he's a great rebounder. You're going to need him, and all these teams are still going to sag off. The one they nailed yesterday was actually really beautiful. Like they showed it in slow motion over Wembanyama. He's going to be able to get to that shot pretty consistently. Donovan's not like, it's not like Donovan's like a crack shooter, but the best way to combat guys like Wembanyama is to space them out and force them to come out. And so hitting these threes is really important. And I think Donovan's still going to get opportunities. And that's a big part, I think, of what the Blazers see for him on the long term is that they want him to become that type of pick and pop shooter. So I'm once again going to go back to the well with Donovan Klinger, 1+, not 2, just 1+ 3-pointer. You can consider that to be a 2-star play for me. Pay the juice.
All right, my last one is my favorite bet of the podcast, just because I think that this is a good bet and also a really fun bet that I can't believe they're giving it to us at this price. It's a 3-star bet. It is on Victor Wembanyama to lead the series in points, 50-1 odds at Bet365. Whenever the rest of his career are we going to be able to bet Wembanyama 50-1 to lead the series in points? Well, it's because he basically played 2 games out of the 4 so far. He got one that he missed, one that he got only 5 points in, but 35 points in game 1, 27 in game 4. So his 2 full games, he's averaging 31 points a game. Now, look, I'll tell you up front, we almost definitely need the Blazers to win this game for this bet to have real legs. Maybe Wemby just drops like a 40 or 45 banger and we get there. But right now, here's the numbers. He's at 67 points. But we got Fox 80, Castle 84, and Avdia 89. So that's the gap. It's a pretty sizable gap. We got to get like 15, 20 points closed on those 3. Okay, closing on Fox and Castle, not that big of a deal because if Wemby scores a bunch of points, those guys probably don't need to score that many points. Denny is 22 ahead. So either Denny has to like completely suck while Wemby has a big game and the Spurs close out. That could happen. But 2 games, now I'm intrigued. Some quick numbers for you. Let's say Wemby puts up 32 a game in 2 games. So the Blazers steal a game and then go close out from there. Look, if the Blazers don't close out, I like it even better. Wembanyama is just going to have more chances to get further ahead. 2 games, 32 points a game gets us to 131 for Wemby. Here's what we need now to hit. We need Danny to go under 21 points a game. We need Castle under 24 and Fox under 26. Castle and Fox, those are easy. Danny under 21, Spurs close out, Wemby 32 points a game or better. That seems very, very reasonable. And it's Wemby, and we get to just root for the most fun player on the planet to score a bunch of points, and it's 50-1. Come on. How are you not going to have fun putting that in your bet slip and just rooting for this all the way? There is a long shot rebound number for him as well as 33-1. I looked at that. I like it a lot less because he's at 21. We've got Time Lord, Klingon, and Cornette all at 30+. And rebounding, it's not as easy a chance for him to just put up like 40 and close a huge gap there. So I actually prefer Time Lord 3-1 if you're looking at that one based on the Klingon stuff we just talked about. But Wemby series points leader, 50-1. We're never going to get to do that often. So if the Blazers win a game, this number is going to go crazy and we're going to feel really good going into game 6. And even if they don't, we maybe will still get a shot here.
This is the kind of thing where I'm always like, you're crazy. And then you hit it and then I'm all jealous. So I will not be FOMO'd. I will be joining you on this.
Here we go.
That's 100% what I'm going to be doing now. Joining you on this. I will go to Twitter and actually ask Playbook. You can hit @Playbook on Twitter. X.com if you are one of those people. And ask them to give you the odds on this for Wembanyama. Series leader, Bet365, 50-1. What a great slate of bets from Brandon Anderson. Let's go over them again for the people. He likes Sixers plus 12.5, Celtics and 6, Knicks first half minus 3.5, and the escalator on the first half. Dyson Daniels assist leader, Spurs first quarter minus 3.5 and the escalator, and Victor Wembanyama points leader. I've got Celtics minus 12.5, Jalen Johnson under 26.5 PA, Donovan Klingon 1 3-pointer, and the Portland Trailblazers plus 11.5. If you're watching at youtube.com/the Action Network, there's a little QR code in the top right. And if you scan that code, it will take you directly to the page where all these bets are, and you can find them and you can bet them. So use that technology. We're using new technology here on Buckets.
You know who likes new technology, Matt Moore? The Youth of a Nation.
Well, I'll do it for Buckets. Appreciate you guys being with us. Thanks for joining us. Hope you guys have yourselves a great Tuesday. We'll be back for more best bets tomorrow. Make sure to check out our live pregame shows every day at 5:15 Eastern. You can catch it all throughout the week. We will see you guys again for those shows and more coming this week on the NBA playoffs. Till then, let's get buckets.